Hello, and welcome to the Venue Coach Blueprint for Owners. I'm Kyle Labar. This podcast is all about helping you fill your wedding venue with more bookings, earn more from each one, and keep your customers happy for a long time. We'll also talk about some tough times and big lessons that I've learned along the way. Let's dive in together and make your venue the best spot for weddings. Hey everyone, welcome to the Venue Coach. This is Kyle Labar. Today I wanted to talk about our origin story, essentially. How we got started in the wedding venue game, why, the thought process, that sort of thing. I talked about it a bit on the intro episode, but the the whole thing started when I was at my sister-in-law's wedding at a fairly new, actually brand new wedding venue, and I'm always interested in business and interested in the financial side of things. And so I asked my sister-in-law how much they paid for it, and I was surprised. I can't remember the exact amount, but it was somewhere between $5,000 and $6,000. And I remember looking around and seeing what was provided and the offer and everything that was there, and I thought, huh, I could do this. There's a lot of money here. This could be a great opportunity. And so I started investigating the market, looked up some statistics for the area. I'm in the Dallas market, and so there's roughly 48,000 weddings a year and 700 venues or so, plus or minus, obviously, but that told me that there's about 50, geez, I think that's 58 weddings per venue if it was all things being equal, which obviously that not all wedding venues are equal. And so I thought, wow, all I have to do is do slightly better than some of them, and this could even, and not even that, this could be really successful. So I started crunching the numbers, and that's my background is sales and finance, and so I'm really interested in data. And as I was looking into the numbers, I found that if we got a piece of property, then we would be looking at, depending on the loan, all of that, we'd be looking at somewhere around needing 20 to 30,000 a month to break even. And I was basing it off of that $5,000 to $6,000 price point that my sister-in-law told me, and I thought, wow, that's only four to six events a month. That shouldn't be that difficult. Four is 48 and six is 72. So somewhere in there is our break even point if we're at that price point. And who knows, maybe we can get it at a better price. And so then we started looking at properties. And this went on for, well, she got married in 2020. I can't even remember. Sorry, Danny. 2019? Yeah, 2019. And we were looking for, I called my sister, she's one of our partners, and we started looking at properties. And it wasn't until 2021 that we got really serious. We started to formulate the business plan, draw up the numbers, just get some resources. And what I found was, I hadn't been in the space. I didn't know anything about it. I was just going off of numbers that I had found. And I drew up a rough idea of what was going to happen. And then we went to approach investors, so mainly just friends and family, and wanted to see who might be interested in joining us in this crazy venture. And so we started looking, we were thinking about buying some land and building a place, and we met with a company that happened to help design and create the space. And we initially paid them to draw up a business plan. And what was really great for me was getting the confirmation on the numbers that I was getting. And so the numbers that they drew up was roughly the same as mine, and like really close. And so that helped me feel confident because they were been in the business. They've helped other venues do this across the country, venue owners, and so that was a good feeling for me. But the problem that we got hung up on was they required us to build, and we were not able to get funding to just build a venue from scratch. The banks were not impressed with our lack of, what, for lack of better term, with our lack of credentials. So we had tertiary skills. Like I said, my background is in sales, now marketing, finance, and then we have my one of our owners is a builder. We had another owner with a studio space, and so we had a lot of varying skills, but none of them were in the wedding industry. And so that made it a bit difficult for us to convince a bank to conjure up something out of thin air, i.e., a wedding venue that never existed. The bankers have very little imagination, and so we had to flex and start looking at existing venues. And so we found the one that we actually settled on to buy, and we went and it was great. There were some things that needed some updating, and so we started visualizing a plan to do that, and it was a lot easier to convince lenders, hey, this is an existing business, this is already a venue, here's our plan for how to make it better, and all of that. And so that was actually a bit easier, but unfortunately that ended the relationship with the other company that was supposed to be helping us get off the ground and get going. They said they would only work with anybody who built their venues that they had designed, and so they didn't want to be accountable for anything outside of their control, essentially. And so we pressed forward and we got a loan. We got an SBA loan because conventional lenders want to see 2 years of tax returns before they'll give you anything. And so, the whole lending practices in the U.S., while it purports small business and startups and all of that, we found that again and again, no, it doesn't. It's really hard for newfound businesses to get going with lending from banks and from lenders. You have to really put a lot of work and effort into convincing them that you're not an idiot and that you're going to uh, do good things with the money. And so that just was a frustration of ours, just dealing, and that's been an ongoing frustration of ours, dealing with lenders who have no vision. And so we continued to press forward. We found some friends that wanted to be a part of it, and we got our investor pool, and then we got to work. We closed the deal. It took some doing. The lender that we were working with, mm, yeah, we'll just leave it at that. They were not very helpful, and it took longer than it probably should have to close on the property. But once we closed, we got straight to work. The good thing that we did get was some working capital because we were basically starting from scratch. The venue we took over had just been slow churning events, maybe 2 or 3 a month tops. And so we inherited, I think, 6 total events from them, so not much to speak of. So we needed some runway to go. So we did get some some working capital, and we were also able to get lending for FF&E as well. And so we got to work. We updated our venue. We got it looking a bit more modern. Rustic elegant is the words that I would use to describe our venue. It's theblackoak.com. Feel free to check that out. And so that was in May of 22, and by the end of the summer we were ready. We started turning on marketing. We started getting everything going, and then we were off to the races. We started booking and haven't looked back since. So that's that's how we got started. And honestly, our vision is to keep going and to be in this industry, in this business for a long, long time. And I actually really enjoy the different ways that you can grow this business, because as a venue owner, we are limited to the dates that we can book, right? There's only so many dates available. Most of us can't double book. A few clients of mine have that capability, but those are few and far between. The rest of us, we can only book one at a time, and most of the time, we're not filling up our weekdays. And so, how do we fill those up? How do we maximize the profit that we're getting on the dates that are filling up? And how do we do it and consistently so that way we can be profitable and consistently profitable. And so that's the challenge that really thrills me, is to figure those pieces of the puzzle out. And really, that's the whole point of this podcast as well, is just to go over all those things, the things that we've learned, the things that we've gotten going, and that we continue to test and try, and things that haven't worked and things that have. And so, yeah, that's really in a nutshell the origin story. And next time, I think I'll get more into the breakdown of things that you need to know when you're looking at purchasing a venue, the costs involved, and all of that. And so, but we'll dive into that next time. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I will see you in the next one.